Growing up, I was always a sick kid. That meant that I was stuck at home a lot, alone, bored, and with nothing to do to pass the time. That wasn't until the day my dad came home with our first gaming console. Now, I didn't grow up on a Super Nintendo like most people. The first console we had in our house was a PlayStation 2, and I was enthralled immediately. Now, all of a sudden, my living room was no longer a trap that I was stuck in and desperate to get out of. Now, my living room had become another world full of adventure, mystery, and danger. That is how I got into video games, and they have followed me throughout my life. There really isn't a game in the world that I won't at least give a try. And this is where From Software comes in. Everyone knows Dark Souls is a very hard game. However, it is also a game with an amazing story to tell that makes you look for clues and answers to what happened. Dark Souls is another game that I completely lost myself in. The world is amazing, each and every moment fun, challenging, and adventurous, and I trust your company to make a game that people can enjoy and get lost in. I've spent my past 2 years working hard at Full Sail University to get myself to this opportunity. At Full Sail, I've acquired the necessary skills for me to finally bring this idea to you today. At Full Sail, I learned character design and level design and how to use programs like Unity to work in. On my own free time, I've also been working in Game Maker Studio and Unreal Engine 4 to build upon those skills. Because of all this, I believe I am finally ready to present to you my game idea here today. Most people can relate to a few simple things: fairy tales, and for some people, nightmares. Fairy tales are a nearly universal platform to tell a story. Fairy tales have evolved constantly over time, changing to fit the world around them. And that is how my game idea was created. The title of the game is Nightmares, and the world is set in a small continent that is inhabited by fairy tale inspired characters. Most of the main characters will represent a tale that most people can relate to or have heard in the past. The main character, for instance, is none other than Little Red Riding Hood. Orphaned by wolves as a teenager, she now lives in a small village. That is, of course, until the nightmares started attacking. Strange shadow beasts started terrorizing the land around her, infecting the other fairy tales and corrupting them, bringing out the bad aspects inside of them. These nightmares are the central conflict of the game, ranging from generic shadow beasts that roam the land to other infected fairy tales which are far more dangerous. The story, of course, will follow the main character, who most just referred to as Red, as she ventures to the land and battles these creatures, trying to reclaim her homeland. I want the game to be impactful and the characters memorable. I want emotional moments in the game to translate to the player, as they should feel every bit as immersed in the experience as possible. As for gameplay, I imagine the combat as being fast paced and very smooth. The character should have the ability to move about freely and attack however they see fit in the moment, changing seamlessly from a strong attack with an oversized hammer before switching into a ton of light attacks with a small rapier. I want the game to be fun to play while still challenging. Most of this has been inspired by a couple of games like Dark Souls, Devil May Cry, and Kingdom Hearts, to name a few. I've always enjoyed a game where you are allowed to experiment with different character builds, making each playthrough different and interesting. I think it's important to accommodate a wide variety of attacks to appeal to a wide player base. Dark Souls, for instance, allows the player to use strength weapons, dexterity weapons, or even multiple different kinds of magic. I think it is this diversity in the game that made me come to love it in the first place. These ideas, of course, are only the surface of the game, and I'd love to share the rest with you if you are interested in taking on my idea as the next project From Software works on. I've invested countless hours over the past 5 years putting effort into thinking about this game and trying to make it a reality, and it would mean the world for me to have it become just that.